Hey guys, welcome back to Vigoroso DC. And today we are going to explore a museum called Planet Word. And this is a museum that is all about language, the evolution of language, how we use it. It's a linguist's dream to come to this place. The museum itself is actually in a very historic building called the Franklin School. As you can see, it is very beautiful. And I will tell you a bit more about the building and its history in just a minute. So let's get started. Just a quick look at Franklin Park right across the street. That's the DC flag back there. So here it is, and you can see at the very top, or it might be hard to make out, but it says Franklin School. This opened back in 1869 as a public school, and there's a lot of interesting things about it. First of all, public schools were not common then. This was kind of a new experimental route, trying public schools, free education. There were about 900 students, both boys and girls. And this was during the time of segregation, so they were all white. But you can see here how the building is kind of symmetrical. There's a door on the left and a door on the right and stairs there. They actually had the building split in half from the middle, where boys were on one side and girls were on the other side, both north and south. I'm not sure which was which, but it basically functioned as two schools at once, a boys' school and a girls' school, under one roof. Then later on in the 1890s, it became co-ed and continued as a public school up until 1925. And there were a lot of firsts that happened here in terms of education. So this was one of the first places to try giving subjects other than the basics, so having dedicated music classes and art classes and that kind of thing instead of just reading, writing, arithmetic. Also some other things that we take for granted today, such as separating students by their ages and having a standard curriculum. These were all experimental at that time. Now we just kind of think of them as the routine thing to do, but it was a very forward-thinking, progressive, innovative school, and that's what was going on here. Now, after it stopped being a school in 1925, it was still owned by the Board of Education until the late 1960s, but even then at that point it remained mostly vacant. It served as a homeless shelter at one point. It was also a school for adults for a while, but for the most part it was kind of empty and becoming run down, dilapidated. The museum's website actually has photographs on there from what it looked like just before they started renovating it. And it seriously looked like something straight out of a horror movie, a creepy horror Halloween movie. It was in terrible, terrible shape. And they started renovating it in 2017, and then in 2020 it opened up. And this is kind of remarkable because it opened in October 2020, which was right at the heart of the COVID-19 pandemic. Most places were completely shut down at the time, and this one was opening its doors from scratch. So that is really something. And there are some interesting features here on the building itself. So let's move a little more towards the center here and look at the very top. If you can see there, it says Franklin School. And for some reason, there is a period at the very end of school. And that's just weird. And nobody knows why they did that. It's not a complete sentence. It's just a noun, Franklin School, period. So that is a mystery that no one knows the answer to. And just above it, that center area there, at the very top, there is a bust of Ben Franklin. And below it, there is a round circle. And that is where a clock used to be. Now, the architect who designed this, he was a really famous guy at the time in the later half of the 1800s. His name was Adolf Kloss. And he had designed quite a number of buildings here in DC. He also designed the Arts and Industries building, which was one of the very first Smithsonian museums, as well as the Eastern Market building. If you've seen my video about Eastern Market, he designed that one also. And as you see, it is red brick. So red brick was very popular in the late 1800s. And it wasn't only him, a lot of other buildings were built in red brick. And at the time, DC had a nickname. It was the Red Brick City. If you come to DC now, that's not very obvious because a lot of these buildings have been destroyed and rebuilt with other types of buildings. But they are around. These historic buildings are definitely here. They're not hard to find. And this type of architecture is called Greek Revival. This is pretty interesting here. Some history was made at the very top of this building by Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone. And I will read you this plaque. From the top floor of this building was sent on June 3rd, 1880, over a beam of light to 1325 L Street, the first wireless telephone message in the history of the world. The apparatus used in sending the message was the photophone, invented by Alexander Graham Bell, inventor of the telephone. We all know that Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, but this was basically a wireless phone call. Now, we think of this kind of technology as being very recent, but back in 1880, he used a beam of light to send a telephone message about 150 years ago. He was actually more proud of this moment than he was about inventing the telephone. So that all happened right here.